Hello, welcome and greetings. In 1277, the last Prince of Wales began construction of Caergwrle Castle, with funding and support from King Edward I of England. Later, Edward gifted the castle to his wife, and soon after, they had a very lucky escape, which left them with no choice than to abandon the castle. Let's discover more! The scant remains of Caergwrle Castle stand atop a precipitous hill with commanding views of the surrounding countryside and villages. This map shows the location north of Wrexham in Flintshire, North Wales. In 1277, King Edward I had given some land to the last Prince of Wales, Dafydd ab Gruffydd, as payment after he supported Edward by fighting against the Welsh. Dafydd soon started construction of a castle on the site of an ancient Iron Age hill fort on that land at a place which would become known as Caergwrle. This was to be the last Welsh-built castle. Although it has elements of Welsh castle design, the divided loyalties of Dafydd show through with several English-style elements. By 1278, construction of Edward's first ring of iron castles at Flint was underway. This didn't stop Edward sending the Welsh prince, Dafydd, some money towards the cost of Caergwrle Castle. It's possible that Dafydd was even employing English masons to help with its construction. By 1282, Dafydd and Edward had fallen out with each other after Dafydd had revolted against Edward. In June of that year, Edward gathered an army and sent Reginald de Grey to conquer Caergwrle Castle. When the forces arrived at Caergwrle, they discovered that Dafydd had already abandoned the castle. Dafydd's supporters had backfilled the well and slighted the castle such that it was unusable. Now that the castle had fallen into English hands, Edward gave instructions to Reginald de Grey to repair the castle. This came at a cost of over £1,466. It required the work of more than 340 carpenters and over 600 diggers, alongside 30 or so stonemasons. It is believed that Edward's preferred architect for these works was James of St. George, who had also worked on Edward's other castles. In 1283, Edward gifted Caergwrle Castle to his wife, Eleanor of Castile. There were plans to establish a town below the castle for English residency only, and Eleanor was granted permission to hold a weekly market in the town. On the 27th of August, 1283, things took a bad turn. Edward and Eleanor were staying at the castle when an accidental fire broke out. This resulted in destruction of the castle such that it became uninhabitable. The castle was passed to Edward's eldest son, who would become King Edward II, but no repairs were made. It was then passed to John of Cromwell on the provision that John would carry out repairs. It's doubted that John ever carried out any repair work at all. After the death of John, Caergwrle Castle passed to Edward the Black Prince, who was the eldest son of King Edward III. That's a lot of Edwards, I hope you're keeping track. Edward the Black Prince died before his father, King Edward III, and so never inherited the title of king. It was the son of Edward the Black Prince who succeeded to the throne as Richard II. After that, Caergwrle Castle lay in ruins, and over the years, much of its stonework was pilfered to be used in other construction works around the area. The stones could have been rolled down the hill, making it so easy to take them. This is largely why so little of the castle remains today. What clues do remain of the castle do give a fascinating insight, though. Whether it be the stone footings for what would likely have been a timber hall, the well, part of an archway which could have been an entrance, and the substantial remains of an oven and a fireplace. In the late 15th century, the castle had fallen into the hands of the Stanley family, and by the 19th century the castle was owned by the Earls of Derby. When the railways arrived in the later 1800s, Caergwrle Castle became a tourist attraction for day trippers, but with the advent of motor cars and road transport, much of that faded away. In 1962, the Earl of Derby kindly gave the castle and its grounds to the local community. Then, in 2018, the castle itself went into the care of Cadw, which is the Welsh equivalent of English heritage and reflects the importance of Caergwrle Castle. I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video as much as I've enjoyed visiting Caergwrle Castle, researching and making the video. I'm neither a professional historian nor a professional videographer. I simply enjoy learning about the world and sharing that with others. I'll see you soon. Meanwhile, have a grand tour.